Today I'm going to tell you about why Lincoln Riley called Drake Stoops a playmaker and where he fits into Oklahoma's offense. And all that's coming up after the bumper.
What do you mean you don't subscribe to my son's YouTube channel?
Mama, no!
Just snap the damn ball, RJ.
What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always OU related, college football related, sports related. We have a good time. So today we're going to talk about Drake Stoops, son of Bob Stoops, brother of Isaac Stoops, son of Carol Stoops, and how he fits into the 2018 Oklahoma offense, where he could make an impact, and why Lincoln Riley has called him a playmaker. But first, some news and notes you need to know, starting with Adrian Peterson is next to Samaj P. Ryan in the backfield, or so we hope. I'm hoping that Washington runs split backs with Alex Smith in between Samaj P. Ryan, Adrian Peterson, make it look like Mixon and P. Ryan.
Come on, Jay Gruden, you know you want to.
And this is all because the Redskins signed Adrian Peterson to the veteran minimum of about $1 million and change, probably just enough to pay the taxes on one of his cars. After their first round draft pick, Darius Geis went down with a torn ACL. Geis was already going to be a fantasy sleeper, and now Adrian Peterson feels like he's a fantasy sleeper. Because, well,
He's Adrian Peterson.
AD, not AP, is 33, which is the same age as Jesus was, has made 7 Pro Bowls in 10 seasons, and ranks 12th on the NFL's all-time rushing list with over 12,000 yards on the ground. Last season, he wasn't really good at Arizona, but you could say that's because of how Arizona used him. But I know I'm not the only person excited to see 28 back wearing red again. In other news, inexplicable news, the Associated Press released its 2018 preseason All-America list, for which there are 2 teams of offense, 2 teams of defense. One team's called first team, one team's called second team. Neither one of these teams has a single Sooner on the list. If this doesn't turn this team into a bunch of headhunters and body snatchers, I don't know what will. Because I can make a case for a guy like Hollywood Brown being included on this list instead of, say, David Sills, who made the list. Also, is college football really that bad when Will Grier is its first team All-America quarterback? But that's not really my conniption. My conniption is the running back situation. Bryce Love and Jonathan Taylor, I get. A.J. Dillon at Boston College? Oh, okay, fine. I guess the thing is, check it. Rodney Anderson should be on this list. I don't know who you have to kick off this list, whether it's A.J. Dillon or Damian Harris at Alabama, but you need to kick one of those guys off the list and make room for Rodney Anderson, because all he did was have over 1,300 yards on the ground in his final 8 games of the season, rushed for over 200 yards against Georgia. I mean, what else does the guy have to do at this point to get a look from the national folks? I don't understand. But at a place like OU, where it seems to be Oklahoma versus the haters, shout out to Sidney Tillery, this falls right in line. Somehow the Associated Press can rank Oklahoma number 7 in the preseason poll, but not put a single one of its players on the preseason All-America list. Fine, whatever. Turn the page, let's get the season started. Just a bunch of pretenders trying to win some games. Now, before we get into Drake Stoops, I need to talk about another wide receiver that I have mentioned on again and off again, but really haven't dug into over the course of preseason camp, and that is Marquise Hollywood Brown. The man got his nickname from Gus Johnson, who also nicknamed Grant Calcaterra Calcutta, because, well, I don't think that Gus Johnson actually looked at the card before he said his name. So now, I'm forever gonna poke Gus Johnson for calling Grant Calcaterra Calcutta. It's gonna be interesting to see how he handles that, because he's calling the FAU Oklahoma game. Just a heads up, Gus, Fa Amatu. Try it. But Marquise Brown is not just the most explosive receiver Oklahoma boasts. He's one of the fastest men in the country. He was clocked at running a 4.33 second 40-yard dash, and he all but embarrassed an OU student at the spring game, sucking him up, slowing down, looking him down. Marquise Brown just showing everybody how he gets down. And I'm really going to be interested to see what his 40-yard dash time is in March when Oklahoma has its annual pro day, after Jeff Badette throwing down a 4.240 and Marquise Brown claiming that he is faster than Jeff Badette. What I do know is Marquise Brown is faster than anybody who's guarding him, which is how he ended up with 57 catches for over 1,000 yards last year. For those of you who are better with arithmetic than me, it took a calculator for me to figure out that 57 catches into 1,095 yards is 19.2 yards per catch, which is ridiculous, really. But that was kind of the offense last year. The offense was gaudy. It was ridiculous. It was Baker Mayfield moving the secondary by moving up in the pocket. It was Marquise Brown springing wide open because he can flat out fly, and because the secondary would move because Baker moved. This year, the secondary is going to be moving even more with Kyler Murray at quarterback, because Kyler Murray is much more of a threat to run with the ball than Baker Mayfield is. And it's saying something that Kyler Murray is better moving with the football football than Baker Mayfield was, because Baker Mayfield was an extremely gifted scrambler that doesn't get enough credit for how good he was at that job. And I still don't think he gets enough credit for how good he was as a mobile quarterback and not just a purely efficient machine at quarterback. The other reason I need to bring up Marquise Brown is because he wasn't on this AP first team or second team, which is the second biggest snub for me, because I thought that Rodney Anderson and Marquise Brown would be shoo-ins to make at least the second team of the preseason AP All-America team. And I expect Marquise Brown to carry that chip on his shoulder for the entire season. This is a guy who's basically put on 20 pounds since he got to Norman. He's up to around 170 pounds now, and at his 5'10" frame with his speed, that's pretty good. And he spent the entire summer working on his conditioning. Telling OUinsider.com, he went home and ran for 30 minutes on the beach every day. And he worked on his sprints every day, claiming that the best way to get faster is to run. And he would do ladder sprints, 20 yards, 40 yards, 50 yards, to go along with those slow burning miles of distance. So Marquise Brown is in shape to run and absolutely devour defensive backs, not just with his speed, but with his conditioning. Come the fourth quarter, I expect to see Marquise Brown running wild and free, catching passes, taking them to the end zone. Now let's talk about Drake Stoops. Now you might remember, Drake Stoops committed to Oklahoma as a preferred walk-on in January of this year. And while there's a lot of folks who were saying, yo, name recognition, he's Bob's kid, Drake can play a little ball, y'all. As a receiver at Norman North, Drake had over 1,000 yards receiving and 15 touchdowns in his senior season. At 5'11", 175 pounds, he's about the same size Sterling Shepard was when he committed to Oklahoma. And it wasn't like Stoops didn't have opportunities to play football elsewhere. He came to Oklahoma as a preferred walk-on, spurning scholarship offers from Ohio, Western Kentucky, Memphis, and Arkansas State, among others. And when he got to Oklahoma, he started to show out, becoming, for me, preseason all-camper. Because there's that one social media video that Oklahoma put out where I think Drake Stoops is styling over Jordan Parker with the one-handed grab. It went viral. You should go check it out. Which makes it real problematic at the dinner table because your uncle's the defensive coordinator. So does Mike Stoops tell Drake Stoops that was an awesome grab, or does Mike Stoops just chew out Jordan Parker and say you shouldn't get beat by that? And he's obviously earning respect from his teammates. Wide receiver CeeDee Lamb told the Tulsa World he obviously has a big name, but we obviously overlooked that. Bob Stoops is a legend here, but I don't think he wants to be looked at as Stoops' son. He wants to be Drake. To which I say amen. Give the dude an opportunity to earn his way on his own name, and he probably will, as you can see he's doing right now. And it's not like there's not a way forward for Drake Stoops to not only earn a scholarship, but become a go-to wide receiver in Lincoln Riley's offense. Everyone from Baker Mayfield to Eric Wren to Nick Basquine to Lee Morris to Miles Tees have earned their way onto scholarship, and Drake Stoops seems to be headed that direction if Lincoln Riley's comments about him are any indication. Lincoln Riley acknowledged there's some guys probably ahead of Drake Stoops, like Miles Tees, like Nick Basquine, like Michael Jones, but he also said Drake Stoops is a playmaker. He is. He's tough. He's a playmaker, so he's got as good a shot as any to make an impact on this Sooners team in 2018 and beyond. And no matter how you look at it, this wide receivers core seems to be stacked with talent. Also, somehow we've all forgotten about A.D. Miller. So there seem to be guys that have playmaker potential all across the board in the wide receiving core. And I'm excited to see Kyler Murray throw these guys all the passes. All right, that's it for me. Deuces.